But a little common sense. You know, when you leave your purse in your car with the roof down,
and you're saying, why did somebody steal my stuff? Hey, you left it there wide open.
Exactly. Lock your doors, lock your windows. Don't leave your purse out in the open. You know, if you have a firearm, don't leave it in your car. You know, keep it locked up at home, keep it locked up in your glove box, but don't just leave it laying on the seat. Those are some of the very simple things that people can do to help themselves.
And I know you guys have had you did have a rash of people taking someone's iPhone and their iPad and all that stuff because they'd leave it on the seat or something. And, you know, people could see, because you always got somebody, I've noticed this, that people will start to walk by your car and then they're leaning and they're acting like, you know, they're just checking the car out. Well, actually what they're doing is checking the inside of the car out to see what you've got, and then the next thing you know, if they busted out your window or something, they've grabbed it and they're gone.
Your GPS, where does everybody keep their GPS?
Yeah, right up on the dash.
So, I mean, it takes almost no time at all to either bust your window or open a door that's unlocked, take your stuff and leave, get into another car. The big scam that's going on right now are, you know, you pull up to your gas pump, get outside, you start pumping your gas. Well, the bad guys come up on the other side, open the passenger door, take your purse and leave. So you don't even know it until you get home. You know, and then it's like, well, now that's another issue because now they have your credit cards. Now they have your, and I'll tell you, they could be in one city in 1 minute, in another city in 10 minutes.
Right.
Card at whatever gas station or store.
Keys to your house, this,
Keys
that,
to
and the
your
other.
house.
Wow.
It's the little things that people really need to do to make themselves work.
Right. Were there other things that you wanted to share? I know I kind of jumped the gun on you.
Everything here that I had just went out the window. That's good. I can think right off my feet. Burglaries. You know, that's another thing. You know, don't leave your garage door open. You know, wide open. I was a victim several years ago. You know, somebody stole a fishing tackle box right out of my garage, and I was working in the backyard. So I mean, you know, you kind of learn by your mistakes, and it's one of the things that you have to do.
And I can tell you too, because you can leave it up and then a snake crawls right in there as well. So I had that occasion to have it open while I'm working in the yard and stuff, and then I go back in my house through the garage, and there's a snake just sitting cooling. He's just cooling right in the garage area, looking out.
I can tell you, this snake and I do not get along. Do not care for snakes.
Oh boy. So, you know, and you see people too who, if they don't close their garage totally, what they do is they leave part of it up. That's just as inviting as leaving the entire thing up, right?
You know, people crawl under there. I mean, if I could get my body under a garage door like that, there's a lot of people fitter than I am.
And it's probably the best way for them to do it, because what you've done has made it even more inviting. They crawl in there, do what they got to do, because nobody's able to see what's going on, and then they get what they want, and they crawl right on out again.
It takes seconds. That's all it takes is seconds. You know, locks are very important. You know, if you buy a cheap lock, chances are it's not going to be very effective. So you need to invest in a lot of this stuff. Motion detectors for your house, especially on the side. Cut your trees and bushes down. You know, I mean, I know they're pretty, but when they cover your front windows, that's just a perfect opportunity. So you have to use some common sense issues, you know, when it comes to crime reduction and when it comes to safety.
And I know you told me about a new scam that's being used.
You know, the one thing that I can say is if it's too good to be true,
it is too good.
It's too good to be true. Yeah, the new scam right now is it's on the internet. And the Better Business Bureau actually has a pamphlet. If you go to the website, they can give you the top scams of the year.
Right.
This particular one is you act as a business's secretary. So what you have to do is either contact people via email, and then this company graciously sends you $200–300 a week just to be their secretary. So you get the check in the mail, and you cash that check. Well, lo and behold, 2 or 3 weeks down the line, your bank account is bounced. You know, you have no money. Well, banks don't really have a whole lot of concern for that because they're getting the checks, and now they bounce, and now you're out hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
Yeah, because when they bounce, they're taking the money out of your account.
Exactly. You know, good to be true, don't go to Better Business Bureau website, look it up. It takes a couple of minutes, and I'll guarantee you that if you're very active on the internet, you're going to get those scammed with the spam.
Oh, absolutely, and there are any number of them, and while you're working for them, making money, you've given them your information because they say you'll be an employee, so we need your social security number, we need this and we need that, and they've got all that good information on you, which gets into the identity theft or anything else that they want to do for you. Let me do a quick station identification. You're listening to Truth with Azama-Edwards. My guest, of course, is Steve Beres, who is Deputy Police Chief with the City of Daytona Beach, and he is a candidate for sheriff for Volusia County. And this is Truth with Azama-Edwards, Steve Beres, guest again. I'm going to repeat that. And this is WLE 1380 AM on your radio dial, and it's Goliath Radio. And we do thank you all for listening. Steve, so that we give you, because you've been sharing a lot of good stuff, and I told you that I would want you to share a lot of that stuff while you're on the air, but we started out talking about the fact that you are running for sheriff. Tell us, if you would, and tell the listeners why you think that you would make a great candidate, not just candidate, but actually a great sheriff, and why you feel that it is your background, your experience that is a great mesh for not just occupying the office today, but for the years to come and looking into the future.
Well, you know, I try to live my life the best I possibly can. I consider myself a very ethical person. As a sheriff, that's what you can get, someone with a lot of ethics, someone with a lot of professional knowledge. I think what I have to offer to the sheriff's department is to take those deputies that are out there right now and take them and kind of mold them so that they, in another 15 or 20 years, might want to run for sheriff. So in other words, build that agency up to where you can sit back when you're gone and leave a legacy. Just like I hope to do with the company. I hope to leave a legacy. As far as my qualifications for sheriff itself, I've got 27 years of law enforcement experience. I'm a deputy chief for the last 6 years. I've got a master's degree in criminal justice. And I think what really will excel me is I've got a lot of different experience with a lot of different agencies as far as working with them. I've been to Biloxi, Mississippi. I've talked to people in New York City, I'm a liaison with the New York City Homeland Security as far as intelligence goes. So I have a wide variety of knowledge in law enforcement that I can bring to this county, not just Daytona Beach, but all the other cities in the area. I have a passion for law enforcement. I mean, I just love my job. There's nothing more that I want to do. The chief asked me the other day, he says, "Hey, are you really going to miss this?" And I said, "Tremendously." So that's what I have, that passion, that willingness to take on a challenge. You know, when I became deputy chief, one of the mandates that we had was to cut the budget. Well, speed weeks used to cost us anywhere between $180,000 to $200,000. So when the chief says, "I want you to cut it," I said, "By how much?" You know, I think maybe 10%, 5%. Cut it in half. Well, I brought that first speed weeks down to about $65,000. It's a lot of tough decisions to be made, and I'm not afraid to make those tough decisions. Be fair about it, be firm about it, but in the end, just make sure you're ethical and make sure that you have the best interests of the community and the people that work for you. You know, I don't work for anybody right now. I work with them, and that's the philosophy that I think you have to have. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's a challenge. You know, I've had some obstacles over the last couple of months, but you know what? Those obstacles are just obstacles. You know, if you can't push forward, you might as well not do it at all. I don't do that.
Absolutely, absolutely, and there are times, because I'm running for office myself and I can relate to so much of what you're sharing, but there are times that people, the general public will think, you know, why is that person running? Why is this, you know, and nobody actually jumps in. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who, somebody will give them whatever money they need to, once you go and do this thing. But the majority of people who actually run for office do it for the right reason. They do it because it's something in their heart. They feel that they can make a difference in the lives of other people and in their communities. And I think sometimes people think it's just a cakewalk, but for those who actually, aren't undergirded with a lot of big time money, it's not. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. I mean, you could be tired to the bone sometimes, but you keep going because you care and because you know that that you're either the best candidate for the job, or you really and truly can make a difference. And I know there's sometimes you find yourself saying, why can't people get this? Why can't I? But the bottom line is that you keep going because you care. Would you agree?
Exactly. If you believe it in your heart, you can do wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe. I believe that there's people out there that don't know me, that have never met me, but once they do, I think they'll see the real me. Because this is it. You're going to get a couple different answers from me. Yes, no, or I'll look into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do something and turn around and not do it. We in law enforcement are here for one thing: make communities safe, people feel safe, and bring a better quality of life to the community that you serve. And that's what I want to do. My wife and I, we've had many different discussions, I should say. And I wanted her to realize that this is a big commitment when you run for office.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't get that commitment from her, or my daughter, or my sons, I wouldn't have done it. That commitment is there. I'm committed to it. There are a lot of people that I have that are supporting me that have that commitment also. I was offered a job last week and a half ago as the chief of police down south. I turned it down. I told the city manager no. And it wasn't even a solicited response.
Mm-hmm.
It was a city manager that worked for the police department here in Daytona. Told me that he had a job and wanted to know if I was interested. I'd love to be a chief of police, but right now my focus is being sheriff. And that's where it's going to maintain until November. November 3rd, after the election is all over.
Well, will you be in a primary or?
Yeah, right now there's Wendell Bradford, myself, and Sheriff Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's a
nonpartisan race.
election. So the same election I will be in, which is August the 14th now. It may change to the 21st, I'm being told. But there, you will have a primary, and then from the primary, if no one gets 50%, a little bit better than 50%, 50% plus one, I would say, majority vote, then the two top vote getters that will end up then running in the general election. And the bottom line is that you give it your best. Every day you kind of wake up saying, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to do that today, or whatever else. But the ultimate goal that you keep your eyes on is, doing what you can do to make sure people understand that you're doing this from the heart, that you're doing it because you feel that you can make a difference. Those who might want to help you in this effort, is there a way that they can contact you? Do you have a website? I'm looking at your client. I know you got that,
Yes,
but they can't see this, so.
I have to go to the expert in social media, which was my daughter, when it came time for everything else, because I had no idea about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and everything else. So Katie really helped me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my website is Beres for Sheriff, 2012.com. That's all one word. I've got a Facebook, which is Steve Beres for Sheriff 2012, and also a Twitter account, which is Beres for Sheriff. So all those avenues. I've got a lot of different information out there. I've got the email address is steve@beresforsheriff2012.com, and I answer all my own emails. I was on a radio show, Tom Garcia radio show, it's an internet show, and he asked me point blank, he said, do you respond to all the emails? I have nobody that responds to the emails but me.
Mhm.
I feel that there's gonna be an answer out